All right, in this one, I'm going to go through how to create a VSL for your marketing agency. Now, this is going to be a very heavy hitting training simply because this is the exact same VSL framework that not only we build for all of our clients and we use for all of our clients, but also, it's the same VSL that I'm running right now to get all of our clients that we get for our agency. Maybe 95%, you can't always say 100%, but like about 95% of our clients that come from a non-referral source is from our ads. And so our ads are very profitable. We have about, I think last month we ended about $2,200 CPA on our offer. Our offer is, more than 10K. So it's very, very profitable for us and about $2,200 CPA. So, infinitely scalable CPA. And it's all because of the VSL that we run. It's as simple as that. Reason why is because our ads are basically an extraction of our VSL. Our sales call is really an extraction of our VSL. So everything starts with the VSL and then everything else is built off the back of that. Does that make sense? So this is like the centerpiece of everything that we do for, again, ourselves and our clients. And I'm going to be breaking it down entirely end to end in this training. So let's get into it. Now, just before we go into the framework, I do want to go into what the goal is of the VSL, because I think sometimes people have misaligned thoughts and visions going into the process of building a new VSL. So I want to align you with what the true goal is of a VSL. So really, it's to make your prospects see your agency or your offer in general as the best or the only option to achieve the desired outcome. That's it. This is broken down into really two parts, okay? You got the best or only option side of it, so to see your agency as the best or only option. Now that is achieved through your mechanism and your result. Now that'll become more clear in a minute when I go through the framework, okay? And then also you have the desired outcome part of this, which is really achieved again through your offer. So again, goal of the VSL is for your agency to see your offer as the best or the only option. You achieve that through the mechanism and the results to achieve that desired outcome. So that's really what your offer needs to speak to, okay? So just remembering those two things because they're going to become important in a minute when I go through the actual framework. Now, also the second thing that the goal of the VSL should achieve, or the outcome of the VSL should achieve, is to be constantly proving why you are different without ever telling your audience why you're different. So you never want to say,
hey, here's why we're different.
Don't say that. Rather, what you want is you want your prospect to watch your VSL, and then at the end of the VSL, you kind of want them to just be like, I don't know why these guys are different, but I just feel they're better than everybody else. I just feel like they're different. They shouldn't really be able to put their finger on it, because if they can put their finger on it, typically probably won't end up actually seeing you as truly different, because a lot of the time people say,
now, here's why we're different. We're different because our process is better, right? Whatever they say, right?
And it just doesn't actually achieve the true goal of making them see you as different. And so ultimately, if you think about it from this perspective, the prospect sees you as different than every other option in the market, and they see you as the best place to go to, really because they see you as different and better. Now, by extension of those two things, now they see you as I say, as the best or only option to achieve their desired outcome. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to book in a call with you every single time, no matter what. That's it. So then by extension, that should be the goal. That should be what we're focusing on. And just again, another idea to always be thinking about is to show, don't tell. Don't tell your prospect, hey, here's why we're different. Show them why you're different. Show them why you're better, right? And here you can think of, if you've never read the book, Take Their Money, I think, by Carl Milligan. I think that's the name of it. Just search Carl Milligan. It's his biggest book. He talks about the ideas of new, easy, safe, and big in there, right? In that really the way to write copy is to not know what words are best. Rather, it's to know what ideas are you trying to instill into your prospect, because then the words kind of write themselves at that point. And really the big ideas you should always be looking at instilling into your prospects is you've got something that's new, or in other words, different, right? You've got something that's easy, as in it's not going to take a whole bunch of effort, right? There you can think to like Hormoz's idea of the value equation thing. One of the things is like, it speaks to easy. I can't remember exactly how he talks about it, but you got that. Then you've got safe. So, this speaks to things like, is it risky? Is it real? Is it actually legit? Is it predictable? Okay. And then also you got big. Okay. So that kind of then speaks to the outcome, the desired outcome. Okay. So in other words, if you write words that convey these ideas, then that goes back to what I was saying before about not only showing, not telling, but more importantly, it really speaks to the idea of just being perceived as the best or only option to achieve their desired outcome. Okay. And it also helps with being perceived as different. Okay. Let's get into the framework. And these things here will start to make more sense here in a minute. The framework. All right. There's really a 8-part section to it, and I've broke down each section. I've also gave you like exact word for words as well to write. So you want to always start with the market call out, desire, and the offer. So essentially that sounds like a lot, but it's really not. It's just like a one-liner, right? It's basically, if you're an X and want to XYZ, then I'll insert offer, basically. So how would this look as an example? Well, if you're a freestanding ER, emergency room, and want to outcompete your local hospital, then I'll guarantee you 100 new walk-ins per month, or you don't pay. Now, a couple of things here. Obviously, that's the market call out. So you're calling out the market, okay? You're speaking to the specific desire relating to your niche in terms of that, like what's the thing that they want? And then you obviously have your offer as well. Now, a couple of things that I've wrote here is this is where you do your targeting. It's not at the ad set level, right? Same thing in the offer here as well. I use specific wording in this headline. So you might look at this and think, whatever, like it's kind of just normal. But there's a lot that's compacted into this line, and it's really important that you do this, not only again in your VSL, but because your ads are pretty much an extension of your VSL, it's also important that you do this in your ads as well. Obviously, if you're driving all your traffic to your VSL via ads, this is where you do all of your targeting. A lot of the time people think that, like, you know, they ask me all the time, who do you target in your ads? My audiences that I target in my ads are like 10 to 15 million in size. So in other words, I don't do my targeting in the ad set level, in the audience level inside of Facebook. How I always talk about, I describe targeting with running ads is essentially, I try and just tell Facebook, hey, my audience is over there. That's all I try and tell them. A lot of the times people upload like really specific custom audiences, and they might, get really, really granular with their details. It's like this person must match this, and must also match this, and must also match this and this. Get really, really granular. Next minute, their audience size on Facebook is like 100,000 people. Whereas instead, you don't want to do that. You just want to go broad and just be like, Facebook, my audience is in this 30 million group, is in this 10 million group. They're in there somewhere. Then you use your messaging to do all of the targeting. So like this is going to do a lot of the targeting for me, because if you read this right now and you serve gyms, for example, you're going to read this and or even for your own agency, right? You might see an ad like this. If you see an ad, Facebook have messed up, right? They shouldn't be showing you this ad. But if you see an ad and you're not in this niche, you're going to be like, well, you scroll past it, right? But if someone's a freestanding ER and they see this ad, because the messaging is so specific to their exact ideal desires, their outcomes, what they want, all that type of stuff, they're going to resonate with this ad. And by extension, what are they going to do when they see this ad that resonates with them? They're going to click on it. Then what does Facebook do? They look at everybody who's taken action on your ad, and then Facebook goes back to their algo, and then they further optimize around exactly who's taken action on the ad. So that's how you basically let Facebook do the targeting for you through your messaging. Hopefully that makes sense. Bit of a side note, but let's go on. So you want to do that in the beginning, right? Call out your market, speak to their desire. If you're X and you want to desire, then have a real good offer. Now, offers and whatnot, I'm not going to go through in this video. I got another training on that on the channel. You can find it. The second thing is you want to add in a without clause, because immediately as you talk about like outcomes like this, for example, I'll guarantee you 100 new walk-ins, for example. This industry might not be as bad because they're not going to be as saturated, freestanding ERs. But if this ad, as I said before, going back to that example of gyms, for example, they get marketed to all of the time. And so if you say, hey, I'll get you, with gyms, they probably typically talk about members, like new members. Hey, I'll get you new members or whatever. They'll see very similar ads all of the time. And so by extension, they'll assume that they know what you're talking about. If you just said, hey, I'll get you 100 new members, they'll be like, oh no, you're probably doing ads. You're probably doing this. You're probably doing that. I've already tried it, right? So they mentally opt out of your ad and they keep scrolling, right? Same thing with the VSL. And so what you want to do there is immediately, especially in more saturated industries, you want to immediately speak to what we call a without clause. And what that is basically has one goal of removing any idea that the prospect might have about what this could potentially be. Okay. By extension, this will increase the prospect's curiosity to keep them watching, because it has to be something new that they don't know about. Because if you exclude all of the things they think it is, then by extension, what you're talking about must be something new. It goes back to this idea here, right? So I'm not saying, hey, I've got this new way, right? So I'm not telling them I've got a new way. I'm showing them I've got a new way. You see the difference there? So naturally, that's going to hook them in. So you can say, either without common thing, right, that they've tried, without a solution that they've tried, right? Maybe it's like without lowering your prices, because maybe one of the things in there is, in the market is everyone lowers prices to try and get more members. Well, it's without lowering prices. Maybe it's Facebook ads, right? Everyone's tried Facebook ads, none of it's ever worked without running Facebook ads. Or, without just what they've seen in the market in general being advertised. So maybe everyone's now catching on to like AI, for example, and maybe you're still catching the uptrend, so you can talk about AI, but like eventually that's going to become saturated. So then you can also say without any form of AI as an example eventually, right? Now you'd probably want to say, hey, using AI, because that's an attraction point because it's new. Does that make sense? Okay, so you also need to, by extension of writing this, I'm assuming that you know your market. If you don't know your market, you need to understand the market before you can write this, because you can tell a lot of this is based off what the market's saying. Okay, cool, we need to say something different. That's basically it, right? Now, one thing that's important to know as well is we have a client who only works with $6 million per year companies, and her offer is, we'll guarantee you an extra 100K a month. That's her offer. An extra 3K a day is how we explain it in the ad. 100K a month to a $6 million a year company is not a lot. And she also, just the other week, I think it was actually last week, she had a call with a prospect from our ads. The prospect was doing 130 million a year. Her ad said, hey, I'll get you an extra 100 grand a month. He was doing 130 million a year. You can tell that like an extra 100 grand a month is really not that sexy to him. However, he still clicked the ad, he still booked in a call, he still showed up to the call. So there was something that he was interested in. The reason he did that, and everyone else with her offer in particular does it, is because her solution is completely different to anything that the market has ever seen. And we use things like this in the lead of our ads and of the VSL to hook them in. If you have a good offer, perfect. We need a good offer, but also the solution that you're providing also needs to be an attraction point. And that's how you're going to get a lot more people come through as well. It's not only when they want the offer, but also when they're like, this new way, right? This seems interesting. This seems different. That's why I wanted to lead with this in this video, because that's really, really important that you're genuinely seen as different. Because if you have a great offer, but you're just talking about, hey, I'll run your Facebook ads to a market who's tried Facebook ads 100 million times before and it's never ever worked, and there's a natural, kind of like a pre-existing disdain towards Facebook ads in the marketplace, and you say, hey, I'll get you this crazy big offer using Facebook ads, it's not going to work despite you having a big offer. You need both the offer and the mechanism. So we're going to get into the mechanism a little bit deeper on, but anyway, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so this next section here is optional, but you should do it if you're in a saturated industry. So this is basically where you now would want to go into a 100,000 foot view or overview of what it is that you do. So I only recommend doing this step if what you do for clients is actually unique and you're in a saturated industry, right? This client here, she's in e-commerce, the most saturated industry probably on the internet, right? As in e-commerce brands, going after those owners. For marketing agencies, it's the most saturated industry. She's in that niche, but also what she does is actually unique. It's actually different. She doesn't do any form of ad. There's no CRO. There's no, there's none of that, stuff, email marketing, none of that her market sees every single day. If you run an email marketing agency in, e-com, you cannot say that you do email marketing on the front end because no one wants it, right? So with her, she does something genuinely different. And so we expose that up front to hook people in further. So as I say, if you do the same thing that the rest of your market is doing or what your clients have seen before, but you do it better than them, then I do not recommend doing this step. Even if you do it better than what other people do, I don't recommend doing this step because they'll just mentally opt out. Like, I've tried emails. They won't even give you the time of day. I've tried emails. I've tried Facebook ads. No, I don't need this. Click away, right? They don't listen to the rest of the video. However, if you have a never seen before software or funnel or just whatever it is, general solution, then I would lightly touch on it in this section. So you got to think we just finished this without bit. So it's like, hey, we'll get you XYZ result without doing X, without doing Y, without doing B. The way we actually do this for you is through installing our custom developed AI lead filter system into your funnel, and on average this XYZ, whatever it might be. Do you see? That's a pure example, but here what you want to do is you want to notice how this one line proves new, only, and big, and kind of somewhat safe as well, without telling the prospect any of those things. So I imply that it's new, okay? I don't say it's new, but I imply that it's new. I imply that it's big, okay? And because of this bit here, whereas I've not actually wrote it, but if I was to go into, on average, this generates XYZ result, I'm implying it's big, and I'm kind of implying it's safe as well because of the results that it's got, because this is an average. So it's like consistently, this gets this result, and anything that's predictable is also seen as safe. And it's obviously the only one because it's new as well, right? I show them instead of tell them. Also, notice how it immediately positions this offer as different, again, without saying it. Whatever market I was applying this messaging to, if all of that market had seen Facebook ad offers in the past, right, for marketing agencies or emails or whatever I was just saying, and then I go to that market with this messaging, it's naturally going to get a lot of attention and it's going to hook people in, etc. So that's why you would do that here. Again, if you don't do anything that's genuinely fundamentally new, don't do anything here. Just go straight from the without clause straight into the results, okay? But if you do, make a note of it. Okay, now you go into the proof. Okay, so you just make claims. Anytime you make a claim, as you know, you need to back it up. Okay, so there's two types of proof. You've got direct results, and then you've also got famous clients slash your track record who you've worked with. So with direct results, you just want to go, this client went from X to Y in T time frame, X to Y. Another client did this. That's all you need to do with direct results. Now, one thing you need to make sure of is that these results resemble exactly who your ideal client is. Again, your results do a lot of your targeting when running ads as well. So if you only want to work like this client here, he only wants to work with 6 million a year minimum companies or above. Right? As I said, she just got a call last week, guy doing 130 million a year, right? Came from the ads. But the reason why she gets such good results is because of these things, right? Something new and whatnot. She got a genuinely good solution, different solution, but also her results match exactly who she wants. She's not saying, hey, 6 million a year companies, and then in a result saying, yeah, we added this. This client went from 100K a month to 200K a month. Even though 100K a month to 200K a month is a great number, it's a great result, it doesn't align and resonate with somebody who's at 6 million a year. So your results have to show other companies, like if you want people at 6 million a year, your results have to show you getting other companies who are at 6 million, 10 million, 15, 20 million a year and getting those guys to the next level. That's how your results align with whoever it is that you want. And they also do the targeting, because again, the reason why results work so well is because the person that you want to come through the funnel can see themselves getting the result with what you're talking about. They're going to click the ad, they're going to book in a call with you, right? The only really way that they can see themselves getting it is if you've done a very similar thing for somebody else who's in their exact same shoes. Does that make sense? So then by extension, whoever can look at your results result and see themselves getting the result is who's going to click the ad. So if all of your results are 50K a month people, you're primarily only going to get 50K a month people. If all of your results are 1 million a month people, you're primarily only going to get 1 million a month people. Does that make sense? So that also, again, because then that feeds back into the algorithm, and then, typically if you run it on Facebook, they're going to optimize around who's clicking. If it's only 1 million a month people clicking the ad, more, they're going to show your ad to more people doing 1 million a month. So you can see how that really does a lot of the targeting for you outside of the ad set targeting, right? So that's one type of result, right? So this client did this in this time frame. Another type of result is if you have a famous client, then you don't need to say their results, you just state them, because this is basically where you borrow authority from your track record. Okay, so instead of saying like, this client did this, you would just say, we've worked with famous client, famous client, famous client, right? This shows that you can get results and you are credible and different, because not everybody in your space has worked with those clients. So it's a point of differentiation simply by working with the names. Does that make sense? So you get, if you've worked with famous people, then obviously you can get results. It implies it without you needing to say that you've gotten results, right? As I say, yeah, you're borrowing authority. Okay, now you would go into your first CTA. So right after dropping the proof to back up your offer, you want to immediately drop your first CTA. This will capture those who simply needed to hear what you have, what it can do for them, and what they need to do next. That's basically John Carlton's framework. If you're deep in copywriting, you'll know him. And that's basically one of the things he always talks about, right? So all of those people who just are very easy, just need to see those few things, they'll now go ahead and book in a call, right? And the way you'll say that is simply, if that's all you need to hear and you want result, whatever your offer is, restate it, then click the link below and book a call. That's it. Now, you want to move then on into your mechanism, because there's always going to be a trough of traffic who are a little more skeptical than the rest. They're like, well, what actually is this, right? Because we've not exposed anything. We've not talked about what you do. They don't even probably know. Like, we get people booking in a call with us and showing up to the sales call, and they're like, so what do you guys do? They don't even know what we do, but they know they want their result, their outcome, and they can see that we're probably one of the best places to go to, at least from their perspective, from just looking at our ad and our VSL initially. They're like, yeah, these guys seem like they know what they're doing, and they can, they guarantee me the result that I want. Okay, cool, let me just show up, right? So those guys you're going to get easily up from. But as I say, there's going to be that trough of traffic where they're going to be like, well, hang on, what are you actually doing? How does this actually work, etc. So that's where you then go into your mechanism, okay? This is why this is called the first CTA, not the only CTA, right? Primarily, what the market wants to know up front, talking from like a broad perspective, is what makes your thing, whatever you're offering, not only different, but better than every other option, like I was speaking about before. Now, they won't engage with you unless they know you have something different to share or show them. If you see an ad and you know exactly what the ad's talking about, you know exactly what the service, you just know everything about what the ad is saying, basically. And you know everything about the agency, you know everything. You're not going to click on the ad because there's no curiosity that you have around it. So the point at which somebody engages with your ad, clicks the ad, comes through the funnel, does all that stuff, is when they think you have something different. And the reason why that's important is because desires don't change. So in any market that you go into, there's a pre-existing desire that the whole market has, and that's never going to change. For example, people always want more money. That's never going to change. Your goal and your job of running ads isn't to create new desire in the market that you're going after. That's not the job, because that's never going to change. And it's very difficult to create desire in a market. Tremendously difficult. What is much easier to do, and what you really want to focus on, is to create a new way to achieve the desire that they already want. So they already have, every market you go into, they already have a desire. They already have a goal. You first need to figure out what that thing is, and then create a better, quicker, more guaranteed, safe, new way to get the goal. Does that make sense? And that's where the mechanism comes into play. So as I say, they won't engage with you unless they know you have something different to share with them. And ultimately, they want to buy the superior solution. Okay, nobody seeks out the second or third best way to do anything, right? They want different and superior. That's what meaningful differentiation refers to. And that's really all marketing is. Marketing is meaningful differentiation. Now, I got this little bit here from Todd Brown. Really, really good. And it's true. Like, you need to create a new, different, more effective pathway to a pre-existing desire in the market. And the goal of marketing is to not communicate the desire, because that's already there. You don't need to talk about something that's already there. Everybody, or like in my market, everybody already wants more qualified sales calls. In my ads, I don't talk about, hey, here's why you need more qualified sales calls. No, I know they already want that. I'm saying, hey, here's why my approach is the best way to get more qualified sales calls. And so the marketing is communicating why my method is the best. And that's how you need to think about your ads, okay? So the easiest way to explain how to create your mechanism is to essentially show you what mine is. So let me pull mine up here and I'll show you how I've done this. Okay, so this is my mechanism, okay? And this is all, like, this is actually what I run. This is how we run our ads and all that type of stuff, right? So let me walk through this because it's going to be a lot clearer for you once I go through this. Okay, so basically you can see here, if that's you, then click the link below and book a call, right? So where is that? We've just finished off the first CTA. Now we're going to go into the mechanism. So how does this look? Well, I would go into, now, if you're wondering about how the process actually works on the inside, then here's the A to Z on how last month we booked 7,300 qualified calls for our qualified sales calls for our clients collectively, right? That's actually true. You see, right now you might be trying to scale through ads, outbound emails, organic referrals, etc. But everything you are doing seems to be falling on deaf ears and resulting in a low volume of qualified calls booked per month, meaning you can't double your company next month because the inputs of your current output of your current acquisition don't directly correlate with the outputs, right? Got some results here. This is how we did XYZ results. And this is actually real, by the way. And so here's the real reason behind why you can't generate more calls right now. And it has nothing to do with what script you're using or what funnel you're using or what platform you're on. As I'm sure you know, the brain's broken down into 3 core parts, right? And then I basically explain how the brain's structured. And then I explain, and by the way, if you want to know more, I did a video on my previous video on YouTube was covering this stuff about the brain. And because as I say, this is actually the real reason. Like, this is not just me just hyping this up for our ads. This is actually the real. So basically, new information first enters the reptilian brain right here. And then the rep brain only cares for survival and instinct. So when this part of our brain filters new information, it quickly identifies all the information that could affect us and it ignores everything else. Essentially, it filters the new piece of information based on whether it's something we absolutely need to deal with or if it's something out of the ordinary, right? If this piece of information is something we've seen 100 times before, then we'll automatically ignore it. So when you're driving and you see trees running alongside you, you never consciously think about them, right? You ignore them. And the reason is because your reptilian brain says, I've seen this 1,000 times before and it's not important to me. So the new information goes in and then it ignores it. However, on the flip side, if the reptilian brain determines that the new piece of information is new, exciting, and is out of the ordinary, then and only then will it accept the new the piece of information and send it to this top part of the brain, which is the neocortex. By the way, as well as a side note, when the information lands into the prospect's neocortex, that's the point at which they book on a call with you. And so the reason why most people's ads, outbound emails, organic, etc., is being ignored by your prospects is simple. Whatever market you're in, your prospects would have been exposed to very similar sales messages in the past. So when they come across your message, their reptilian brain automatically rejects it because it says I've seen this 1,000 times before and I don't need to spend any energy on it. So I ignore it. Bang. That then results in the ads not performing, basically. So then instead what we do, and then I introduce our mechanism, which is the frontal cortex funnel. And here's the reason why it gets all these results. The frontal cortex funnel essentially bypasses your prospect's reptilian brain by positioning your offer and mechanism as new, novel, and superior in your prospect's mind, so that ultimately it forces the message straight into their neocortex and ethically forces them to book in a call. You can see there how I've positioned what we do as different and superior to every other option in the market. And I'm explaining here's why right now you're not getting the results. And so instead, here's what we do, and here's why what we do actually gets results. And I'm logically explaining why this is the case. We create an always lead to you scenario, and essentially the reason why this works is because it is optimized based off the back of how humans have evolved over millions upon millions of years. So as long as you're selling to another human, we can guarantee results. And then I go into basically the final CTA. So does that make sense? I've now positioned myself as different than everything else in the market, and nobody can copy that, because if they copy that, they're out. Like sometimes like people copy things and it's like very, very similar, but you can't really say they copied. But like that is the explanation behind why what we do actually works. And by the way, that again, as I said before, is not just a marketing thing that we do in our ads. We actually build our VSLs off the back of that structure in the back end, and nobody knows how to do that unless they're our client, because nobody else does it in the space. And that's why ultimately we get better results. And so obviously that was kind of rushing through mechanism explanation here, but in the actual VSL I go a lot deeper into it, and I really do explain like why this is the case. So you need to realize that with your mechanism, like this is what's going to get you the results, really the mechanism behind how you get the result, your client's result. And so it goes back to what I said up here. The goal of the VSL is to position your agency, or to make your prospects see your agency or your offer as the best or only option to achieve their desired outcome. And so the mechanism speaks to you being the best or only option. So when our ideal prospect watches this VSL right here, they seriously see us as the best or only option. They're like, these guys are the best. I understand why I did not get results in the past, or why the other agency didn't get results, or whatever it might be. And I can see why this is going to be different. I can see how these guys are actually going to get me the result. And look, at the end of the day, maybe in the VSL, they're not going to see you as,
oh my God, these guys are the best, are the only option.
But again, also remember, like the job of the VSL is to get somebody to book in a call. So you want to start making headway towards them seeing you as the best or only option, but it doesn't need to be like end to end, like, oh my God, these guys are the absolute best. Because at the end of the day, it's very hard to do that through a video. You want to basically get them to the point where they
these guys seem pretty good. These guys seem like they know what they're doing.
And you want to start making that headway towards them seeing you as truly the best or only option, but just enough so in the VSL so that they book in a call. And then it's on the call when you go, okay,
no, these guys are the real deal. These guys are it. this is who I need. Okay, bang. And then that's when they pay.
So just realize that as well. The real goal of the VSL is just to get them to book on a call. And the way in which you achieve that is through starting that process of making them see you as the best or only option to achieve that ultimate desired outcome. And then we go into results. Obviously, if you have a large amount of results, then here you want to drop another 4 to 8 different results to what you explained in the beginning. So we have 2 result sections, but they make sure the second result section is different to this proof part here. They have to be different results. Don't restate results, because if you just state one section of results, like you just state them here, and then you don't state any more later on, that's okay. But if you state one section of results here, and then you state the same results later on, then that makes the prospect think you've only got those results. But if you just say them once, they probably won't think anything of it, right? But if you state them twice, then they start to think you've only got those results, and it actually kind of can start to take away from the effectiveness of saying the result. However, if you've got multiple results, like you've got more to choose from, you got like hundreds of results, for example, then you want to just do 4 to 8 in the beginning, and then you want to do another 4 to 8, right? But again, if you don't have that, just do one section of 4 to 8 in the beginning, and that's it. Okay, then you run into the final CTA. So this is the last chance you have of getting the prospect to book in a call if they haven't already. Now you got to also remember that if they're watching at this point, then they're obviously interested in what you are talking about. So you do need to be just a little bit more direct now, because it's like, this might be an 8-minute video. So they've watched your ad, some random strangers watched your ad, they've opted in, they gave you their information, they've sat down and they've watched an 8-minute video or a 10-minute video, however long the VSL is. They're pretty interested. So now you just need to really just push them across the line, right? Be a little more direct, right? If you want desire, right? If you want to X, then I'll offer. So if that's you, then click the link below and book in a call. And remember, we're not going to hard sell you on this, because if we don't get you results, we'll have to refund you in full anyway. So we'll show you what we have, and if that doesn't align with what you were looking for, then we can part ways, no problem. So again, if that's you, click the link below and book in a call. See how there is a lot more just do it. Like, you're not going to lose anything, whatever, just book the goddamn call. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the tonality that you want to have, because at this point, it's just like your last chance, and if they're still watching, they're interested, so just book the call. Like, what are you doing? Just book the call, right? So that's kind of how you want to be. So hopefully this was useful. As always, if you did find it useful, like it, subscribe, whatever, and I will see you in the next video.